welcome again to Marilyn Horse. And Mr. Starmer has fled the scene of the crime to the Rockies in Canada. It's a masterstroke. He loves deserting the country, but the country's deserted him, hasn't it?
Well, let's hope they do. I mean, I just have to say, Baroness Casey, what an awesome lady. I mean, she has merrily thrown him under the bus, hasn't she?
Yes, and don't
Oh
mess with
my
that one.
word. She's absolutely nailed it. And I mean, for somebody, he's not a leader, is he? He's like a naughty little boy running around or hiding from the headmaster because they knew the planning of this report coming out it's so transparent. They knew this report was available 10 days ago. They
Yes.
knew, and yet he's planned it around the war that's going on, starting between Iran and Iraq, then shoving off to scuttling away to the G7 and not taking any of the other flack. But the flack is still going to hit him because the media are not going to let him off. They are not going to let him off the hook.
No, they've caught up with themselves this time because the
Yes.
media have been complicit, some of the media, during this long 20-odd-year-old debacle.
30 years. I mean, that none of them have come out shining in glory. None of them, because yeah, right. Kemi Badenoch spoke well yesterday in Parliament, but it doesn't matter which party you're from. They have all failed this. They have all been remiss in bringing this to the light. And there's only a few of us who've actually believed it from day one and and have spoken out about it. Maggie Oliver's another one, and it is just outrageous. It is just awful. And what I don't understand, well, I kind of do understand, is that if anyone in the government or has been in the government or is in the government has been shown to be complicit, they are not going to be prosecuted. Now, how can that be possible? It should be without fear or favour. How can that be possible? That's just not right. It's just not right. And the people who are, yes, I mean, I am thrilled for the victims and the survivors, and as they are, but this should be me. This should not be treated like a pantomime. I mean, yesterday watching House of Commons was I found it actually embarrassing. I found it outrageous. Like they were all jumping up and down, like, oh, we never knew of this. Oh, this is awful. We're going to have to send these people, deport them, blah, blah, blah. For goodness sake, you feel what Yvette Cooper, that like carrying on like she's just invented the I don't know. I mean, it was just, it really wound me up. And I would like to say it is not just those children from bad homes or children's homes, it's from plenty of middle class children as well. And sorry, I'm off on one. Those taxi drivers that were convicted in Rotherham all those years ago are back out driving. Why haven't they had their licenses revoked right from the start? Why didn't that happen? They're back out there again. Yeah, really hope. I mean, I'm sure the National Crime Agency are champing at the bit to get to grips with this. I hope they go undercover as taxi drivers and watch and see what's going on. But I would like to say this as well. This is not just about the kids, it's about the parents who have lost their children. I got an email because I was on Talk TV the other day and I got this email, and this poor dad, he says, my daughter Tessa died at the age 29 after being groomed by Pakistani groomers in Blackburn. Now, it's rife in Blackburn, rife. I know that. I've known that for ages. It started when my youngest daughter started secondary school and befriended some Asian lads in her class. It started with Tessa wanting to fit in. She was a nice, quiet girl and being dared firstly to try a cigarette, then vodka, then weed, and eventually she ended up taking everything and would do anything in the end to get hold of substances. They got her addicted, and they would offer her a fix in exchange for sex. And then she was passed through the Asian community in Blackburn, and she passed away with an induced coma and life support switched off at age 29. And this is just one of many I get. One of many. Not from the necessarily from the girls, but from the parents who called it out. Well, you had one on your show not so long ago, Rodney, didn't you, a mum?
Yep.
And she called it out to the school and called it out to everybody. I just, it's just an embarrassment the way it's now being dealt with. Like people have suddenly got on the bus. and thought, oh, here we go. Yes, no, you failed. You failed miserably. You failed miserably. And the only reason they've done this is because they've been press ganged into it. And good, I mean, the worst mistake Starmer made was using Baroness Casey. He certainly underestimated her. And well done, that lady, because I just, I mean, if it wasn't so serious, I would be laughing my head off at the way she has completely ripped the rug from under him. He's got nowhere to, he needs to resign, but he won't because he's so arrogant.
Yeah, resignation calls are rife at the moment, and
Yeah.
they are right. We've got to blow our own trumpet a bit. This show's been on air for 3 years now, and we have said from day one this needs outing, and it's not been. It's akin to the post office.
Oh, 100%. And the poisonous blood.
Yes.
All of that as well. Absolutely. And but what I don't understand and is why I mean, this should be without fear or favor.
Mm.
Why has anyone in government, why are they going to be protected? Because there will be people in the Department of Education who were told to cover it up, where councils were actually calling them. I don't know if you've heard. I totally believe what Dominic Cummings is saying. I
Absolutely,
completely
is a
believe it.
good
I
piece on there.
completely believe it. And that means people in the Department of Education, are they going to be prosecuted? Or do they come under the
He's got the button to press. He knows the names of the
he does know the
councillors.
names and good on him. And I heard his interview and it's spot on. It's absolutely spot on. And we wait and see. We wait and see, but of course we are going to be having another 2 or 3 years. I mean, in that time, how many
At
people are
least, at least.
yeah, and who, they've always said, isn't it funny? They said there wasn't enough money. Oh, now there suddenly is.
Yes. Look, basically here, everybody's got to bear some part of the blame. The Tories are not out of this by any means. But having said that, numbers were reduced last year. They started to waken up. Too late. It should have been done donkeys years ago. It's all about the dollar, of course, because compensation is going to be very high. But I'm sorry, we're looking after illegal immigrants, and there's where all the money goes, and we're not looking after our
Oh,
own again.
here's a surprise. Oh,
Yes.
David Cooper thinks that maybe the illegal immigrants are part of the gangs. Oh, really? Well, we were saying that over 2 or 3 years ago. Of
Yes,
course they
exactly.
are. A lot of the people running the gangs now are Albanians. Oh, smash the gangs. Well, a lot of them live here. A lot of
Well,
them live here and they're funding.
it's down to the blob again and the elites. The Bishop of Manchester again saying, "Oh, we've got to be careful before we criticise and not bring everybody into the Pakistani bit." They're on another planet.
They are.
But
They
I'll tell
are.
you what, they're defending their own, Marilyn.
Of course they are. Of course they
Councillors,
are.
civil servants, all sorts of people, social services. There are people there that knew about this and they should be in prison.
Well, I'm hoping they will be because that is what Baroness Casey is calling for. And that should be not just now, because I mean, the thing is, yeah, well, the NCA, I mean, National Crime Agency will do an amazing job. My friend is head of Europol and he is seeing Starmer next Tuesday and they will get to grips with this. But it's not just bringing out the truth. This is why the NCA need to be involved because this is still going on as we speak. This is, and it is across. I mean, I was watching Charlie Peters today, and he's right. It is across. It's more than 50 towns. It is endemic. And if they'd done something about this 30 years ago, when it was first on the radar, we wouldn't be in this uh, uh, what would you call it, industrial business that is running. It's dreadful. There'll be people that have got lots of money that are running restaurants across, Blackburn and places like that. I mean, the other day I was only asked to train a load of year 6 children in Blackburn that are about to start secondary school because it is a big problem there, but it's a big problem everywhere. And it's not just I get fed up with them using the words grooming gangs. Yes, it started there, but they're rape gangs. And they don't understand that the children are so often picked off, like this gentleman's letter that I got. And I explained this on Talk TV with Peter Cardwell, that it's the hook. The hook is someone very often their own age, and they don't look at that as a stranger, So that hook is the one that starts playing around with the drugs and things. That hook is already part of the gang. That hook takes them to meet the coordinators, which are the taxi drivers and the big BMWs you see driving around leisure centres. Yeah. They are then taken to the predators, who are 3 times older than the children themselves, where there'll be a dozen men and they will be passed around by a tray, like a tray of cakes, drugged, given alcohol, beaten up, left in a bus shelter somewhere with the threat that if you tell, you will die. People have lost their houses. Houses have been burnt. Children have been killed. Families have been killed. And that's the threat. And that's why they won't talk. And also, they have to then become the next hook. And so we continue. And this is, I'm
I
really.
am amazed, apart from certain shining lights like Maggie Oliver, that the police are just as culpable as this. The chief constables are part of the blob in many areas.
Well, there's a guy, as when I was doing Talk TV, there's a guy who contacted me when I was on GB News before, and he was a detective, and he was seconded just for a month in the Lancashire area. He was seconded up to Rochdale, and this was to investigate burglaries that were going on by the Pakistani men who are burglaring to try and fund their habit and their nefarious behaviours. Yeah. And he had come up from another part of Lancashire, and he noticed these young girls that were being approached by cars and taxi drivers, and you thought, this isn't right, is it? Anyway, he went back to the station and was talking to the boys in blue in the uniform branch, and said, "Oh, I'm very perturbed actually. I've just been out looking for, tracking burglaries and things. And I'm very perturbed about what I've just seen." And these boys in blue said, "Oh, no, no, sir, it's okay, it's okay. It's all being dealt with. Everybody knows. It goes to the top. Everybody knows it's all being dealt with. Don't need to worry about it." And so after 2 weeks, he went back to where he was already a senior detective. When he called me earlier this year, and he has been on GB News, because I got him on there, he actually said, "I actually can't sleep because now I realize what I was watching and what I was silenced from. And now I have become, over the last few years, to understand the spread of it. And I raised the flag and I was silenced." Now, they are police, but similarly, there are police officers who are involved in it. You ask anyone from Rotherham, the police cars, the police officers were as bad as some of the Muslims. They were actually actively involved in it. And there's these people, even if this were 10, 15, 20 years ago, they need to be dragged out of the shadows. They're going to have to build about 2 new prisons to put these people in.
Yes, that's another
I
problem.
mean, I am just so angry about it, the way it's been ignored, and now the way there is no dignity in the way it's being spoken about.
Well, if the powers that be, our rulers, would open their eyes and see what is really happening outside the leafy glades where they live, that might help a little bit. But I'm going to link 2 things here. Yes, it involves Muslims again, Islam, and we've got to realize what is happening or has happened to our country. Now, there's a lot of parliament that is outside PMQs where there's nobody there. There's maybe half a dozen people or whatever. But some very important legislation goes through there. Unfortunately, a lot of it's private members' bills, and they hardly get into law. But this last week, a certain gentleman was talking about blasphemy laws. And this was Nick Timothy. Now, Nick Timothy used to be advisor to Theresa May. Goes back a little while. And he started off, and I've got to read this, it's important, his dissertation about these acts of parliament that still are on the statute book that were for various things that were never meant to fund and fuel what is happening today. I'm referring to the Public Order Act.
Right.
Now, people are taking this as being blasphemy laws. Now, we've not had blasphemy laws for decades. Scotland had the last one that was got rid of. But the situation is that we've always been it's been over 100 years in actual fact, laid back about the blasphemy thing, even though the law was there. Nobody bothers until Islam gets in our land. And I will read you Nick Timothy's opening statement to Parliament. And let me tell you before I read it, it's not very long, that basically, if he'd have said this outside Parliament, he would probably have his collar felt immediately for hate speech.
Oh,
And it is pathetic, but that is a fact. Okay. Nick Timothy says, I do not believe that Muhammad was a prophet sent by God. I do not accept the instructions, he said, he received from the Archangel Gabriel. I do not accept that Sunnah, a body of Islamic laws, has any relevance to me. Oh, courage. Then he goes on, I respect the religious beliefs of others. Timothy continued again, but I do not mind if Muhammad is satirized, criticized, or mocked. I am not a Muslim, and I choose not to live by the moral code set out by Islam. I am a Christian, and I should make it clear that I do not think anybody should be prosecuted for satirizing, criticizing, or mocking Jesus either. Now, that's straight to the point. Basically, I mean, I share his belief as a Christian. My God does not need defending. He can do it himself much better than I can, or anybody else for that matter. But that's the basis of this, you see, because laws are being got from the past and
well,
made what they were never purported to be.
if we can go back to laws from the past, why can't we reintroduce treason?
Lots of it about these days, exactly.
And I would say that's what Keir Starmer is guilty of.
Yes,
He
and
is
many
not
others.
protecting the country in the name of the king. I don't know why the king can't step in. Why can't he, with what's going on? He might be sorry and all of that, but I would think something as outrageous as huge as this and that as well. I mean, yes, it's an old law and all that, but so is treason.
Well, it's the groups that, and I point the finger at Islam, that are full of lawyers and they know how to twist, manipulate, change the law to their own benefit. And this is a classic case.
Exactly true. Exactly true. And also, when I was on Talk TV the other day, I raised the point, and I was surprised Peter Cardwell didn't know because he's a knowledgeable bloke. And I said the fact how they fund the mosques, Labour fund the mosques. He said, "Oh, I don't know about that." I said, "Well, look it up because I do." And there it was. I found it quite easily. They had put millions into funding security in mosques unknown before. What? Why aren't they doing it to synagogues? Why aren't they doing it to churches? Why the Muslims? I mean, I said he's a Muslim lover. He's a Marxist and oh, I don't know about that. I said, well, I do. Look it up. Look it up. The money that they fund for the security of mosques. He wants the Muslim vote. And that's why, I mean,
And back to what we started with, then there is no denying the fact that if suddenly somebody waved a magic wand and the people were put in jail and the councillors were brought to justice, their loss of Labour votes would be gigantic.
oh, it will be.
They have
Absolutely.
supported this deliberately,
Yeah,
north, south,
absolutely.
east, and west of our country.
But Timothy is he's actually really giving a shout to free speech, isn't he?
Exactly that.
I mean, you are entitled. It's the country is absolutely free speech. You are entitled. I don't really like that word, but you are free to give your opinion. And I don't see what's wrong with that. I don't see what's wrong with that. But I mean, when you think of but when you think how, because of Muslims, we in our Christian country can't have many schools will not now do the nativity at Christmas. Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous. We are a Christian country. They had to do something else at Christmas. They can't do the nativity because it might offend some of the children in the school or their parents. Well, I'm sorry if you don't like it, go away, go back. I mean, then there's also a case last week where an imam has been marrying young girls to Muslim men. Hello, this is England. Why hasn't he been picked out of the whatever it's called? What was it? His mosque and sent packing.
Well, we're in Sharia law land, especially in the north of England.
Yes, but they got it. What now, Baroness Casey? What a woman! I'm so impressed by her. But now she's on to this. She wants to really unpack it and roll it through.
There's lots involved here. I go back in my memory about 10 years, no, 15 now, where the Jerry Springer show, and it was
Oh,
appalling,
yes.
showed God in a play terribly, and Jesus, his son, as a horrible person dressed in a nappy. And all the Christians were against it, but they didn't use the law or whatever because Christians want peace. And it upset me, but I said, okay. In the middle of all this, we were invited to film a international jazz festival. So I thought, oh, I'll go here. And I recognized the bloke that was brilliant on the piano and a fantastic singer. And I thought, I've seen him somewhere before. And yes, he played Jesus in a nappy. And I thought, oh, yeah, come on. Subsequently, I've met and filmed him on a number of occasions. Delightful person, very kind person. And we got on very well, but not obviously not on the anti-Christian basis. But I use that story as an illustration. You've got to be careful because people are being used in various guise, especially media, celebrities, actors, etc. And they're the ones, the influencers that people look towards for their political views quite often. Don't please keep politics out of this. And I'm talking to racing drivers, footballers, and all the rest of the celebs, even commentators on football.
And even
They all meet a sticky end.
David Beckham is another one of these. He's been made. Has he got?
Please,
Sorry,
Sir David Beckham.
I'm sorry. These vacuous. I mean, yeah, I suppose he does a bit when you've got the money to do a bit, but they're a brand, aren't they? The Beckhams are a brand. The other people that what got me again. I had another phone call yesterday from a chap who was enraged that on where he lives up in Scotland, that it was Sir David Beckham and blah blah blah, and it was page 15 before there was anything mentioned about the rape gangs. And I said, well, that's how it is. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but that is welcome to my world for the last 23 years. That's how it's been. You can be asked to go on a program and suddenly you're nudged off because, something else has come up. It's always the fill-in subject, not given the relevant importance. And, BBC are dreadful at it, at that. And,
they're masters of deception.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But these vacuous people and another couple that really are doing my head in every time you look at the media are Rod Stewart and his wife. They so absolutely, absolutely, she wants so much to have an OBE or something for what? What is she doing now? She's doing well, she's had her stuff about how she's suffered with menstruation and with the menopause. Well, haven't we all? Name a woman who hasn't. Then she did a PCSO trotting around the bank area in London. Well, that can't be very rough, can it? Then she did bullying. I mean, she was my patron for a while, and she never put her hand in her pocket for anything at all. Didn't even give us something that we could have sold on eBay, nothing. And then, yes, of course, she was bullied at school as well. So then we had that. She went to a bullying charity. And now what is she into? There's something else now she's getting herself into. And it really annoys me. It's so patently obvious. And I remember my son, he used to be, he did a lot of PR work for NSPCC. And he used to say to me, Mum, don't bother getting any celebrity as a patron because all they're looking for is a knighthood or an OBE. They won't do anything. And he was absolutely right. So I stopped all that a long time ago.
There you go. There you go. Well, I'm going to get her upset again now. Yes, before we get into the real subjects, which are a bit different. Doctors, the Spanish are now following their British young doctors
Ooh.
department and going on strike. The whole lot of them, not just the young doctors, everybody's on strike at the moment. They've decided to kill people like our young doctors are. What an outrageous statement, you may say, Hearth. No, I can prove it. And I can prove it by saying statistics have just come out about the doctor strike in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
60,000 absolute important operations were stopped and investigations. And anybody works out mathematically that 10% of those probably died. Well
Sure.
done, lads. You've done a great job. You were paid far more than you ever said. It's the same in one respect in Spain. They do very well compared with other people. But can I say that the Spanish doctors actually are paid 1/4 of what the British doctors are paid? That's why your medical treatment here, on the whole, is cheaper than in Great Britain.
Yeah, well, it all reflects through the system, doesn't it? It reflects through the system. I mean, I heard the other day that we're getting another thing that Starmer's done, aren't we? Getting our pharmacology stuff from America because it's cheaper or something. Did I read something
Well,
like
the agreement is, which was duly dropped on the floor, probably quite
that? Yes.
this morning, is actually going to put up pharmaceuticals slightly, not a big deal, but it probably will do.
But what I feel, I mean, you know what the job is, surely, when you train for it. So haven't you done your research as to whether you're going to make £1 million a year or 5 million? Have you not? If you want to make millions, you go into the finance business and hedge funding, don't you? If that's where you really want to make a fortune, that's what you do. But surely you're not that dim that doctors, the world over. I mean, I know some of them have been going off to Australia, but it's probably expensive over there. There's no such thing that's perfect. Every country's got its own problems, but if you go into teaching, you're not going to earn the same as somebody who's a hedge funder. You can surely you can't be dim. It's hard work. You have to mark things, and our local school they must have had some problem with the kids because I had to go to the doctor with Roger this morning. As they were all marching down the road, there were about 5 teachers on the gate. I thought, ooh, I
Oh,
wonder
yes.
what the naughty little monkeys have been up to.
Well, listen, we must move on to other typical subjects that we tackle from time to time. This one is they've suddenly discovered how important earwax is. And you might say, oh,
God,
really?
you come out with the nicest subjects.
Well, let me tell you, it's
Oh.
revealing. It's horrible, dirty, smelly, or whatever. Now, there's a reason for that, of course. It stops insects boring their way into
Yes.
your nether regions. No, that's not nether regions, your brain. Anyway, so it gets rid of them. But they have discovered that they can uncover pre-cancer, pre-diabetes many years before it happens.
Good grief.
It's a very complicated chemical that makes up your earwax. It's very sophisticated. It's there for many, many reasons. One day, I suppose, they'll discover what the appendix is really all about.
Well, wouldn't that be good? Yeah, because
Yeah.
I just thought it was a silly little waggly thing that we
Well,
don't.
we're told that, but it must be there for some reason.
Well, unless evolution is going to sometimes, like someday soon, get us born without one, because we don't need it. But yeah, I've often wondered that. I've had 3 friends at the moment, well, this year that have had appendicitis, and I thought, why do we need it? And no one can answer me.
No, no. Well, the medics will say because, of course, there's this in it for them. Well, especially in Spain, I say, cut it out. Now, so far, nobody's proved them wrong, but I tell you what, in the future, it would not surprise me one little bit if somebody just go, "Oh, what have we taken that out for? We didn't realise it had this effect on whatever. Might be your toenails growing longer. I don't know."
Maybe your tonsils are the same.
Yes, indeed.
What's the purpose of them? They get
There
infected.
is some medical evidence what tonsils do, and it's maybe best to keep them
Oh,
in defenses to our system and microbes and germs getting into us. So there again, in the good old days when we used to visit the clinic, if you remember, it was always tonsils,
yeah.
teeth, and hair, wasn't it? Never mind any part other parts of the anatomy.
Oh, no, no, and ears. Do you remember the nurse who used to come to the school, grommets?
Yes, that's right.
I always have to laugh about Wallace and Gromit, that cartoon.
Probably where
Became
they got the
grommets.
name
The
from.
number of kids that had grommets in their ears.
Yes, it was a fashion one. So if you've got a grommet, you're going to do all right. So don't, by the way, we've got to give a warning here that is given every time, and it's worth mentioning. Don't get an earbud and stick it down and clear your ear holes out
Oh,
that way because you compact the wax, of course.
oh, it's so dangerous. You should know that those cotton bud things are lethal.
Mm.
And I know people use them on babies. You shouldn't use them. They should be banned. They're so dangerous.
Things have changed with clearing out your ear hole because it's a bit of it wasn't very pleasant when they used to pump hot water at you. It was not nice. But now, very few anyway, medics over here in Spain, they've got a mechanical
Yeah,
device.
that's what we have now.
That
Yeah.
screws it out.
Yeah, no, we've got that here. You can't have it done at the nurse or the doctors anymore. You have to go and see privately. You have to privately
Ah,
go
the
and
money
see.
comes up again.
Yeah, you have to privately go and see an audiologist.
Oh no.
Yeah, yeah, you can't go to the doctor or nurse anymore.
Right, come on, let's get back to Mr. Starmer. We love having a go. We're going to have a real go, of course, about the private schools. They don't do their maths, the Labour Party, at all. Oh, we're going to give you 6,500 more teachers if we close, because they are doing, on a number of occasions, private schools. If we get rid of the VAT, so many people, a couple of thousand, maybe 3,000, won't be able to afford them, and they will come back into our state-run educational system and be better off, allegedly. And we'll give you 6,500 teachers. Mockery. What's happened here, of course, is that there's no extra teachers at all. The money saved will go towards Angela's housing project, which
Oh,
is impossible, completely impossible, to meet thousands, millions of even new homes before they finish this term in government. And that will never happen. We know that. What's happened? Well, this 1.5 billion has shrunk to minus 400 million. It's actually cost them money already, and it's hardly gone through. There's no teachers gone into the state system. That's gone down as well. There's now less teachers. So it's another thing that they say they will do. They don't look into it properly. I say they, we're back to the blob, of course, their advisors. And it results in absolute disaster, as anything will do for anybody that's completely tied up in ideology and
mm,
bad laws and have
mm,
to make other bad laws to get out of the bad laws that are already been made. But
mm,
this
mm.
is who we have as Prime Minister. And there's never been a Prime Minister so unpopular. The
Absolutely.
ordinary man has sussed and woman
Mm.
has sussed him out.
Yeah, I mean, just about everybody. I mean, it makes Liz Truss look good, actually.
Dear old Liz.
But I mean, I think with the schools though, what is so sad? There was an article in the paper the other day about the head teacher of Marlborough School.
Yeah.
I think it was Marlborough, saying how many millions this VAT has cost the school.
Oh, yes, it has. You're talking
And I
33 million.
and some good, and there are some schools that are, yeah, they're private, but they're also for like maybe special needs children, children who are bright kids that have got scholarships and stuff like that and deserve a really good sort of leg up, if you like. And some of those have closed. And you cannot tell me this is not connected to VAT. I don't believe it because they're on tight budgets anyway. When you look at the size of some of these private schools and the old mansions that they're set up in and all the grounds that they've got, there's a lot of upkeep.
They're expensive beasts to maintain. Let me give you another stat. 11,000 pupils have decided to go to state education and not three. That's caused them havoc. You can't just have 11,000 out. But there again, you see, this is ideology above common sense.
But 11,000,
That's a lot of kids.
well, that equates to almost 10 secondary schools.
Yes.
I mean, that's a lot. And there aren't those spaces. I mean, they just don't. They haven't done their homework. It's just, oh, let's have this, let's have that, pick it off the shelf, let's do this, let's do that. They haven't had the time to do the proper due diligence on it.
No, but there you go. Right, we move on this time to driverless cars, especially taxis. Now, the states are well ahead on this. And we've mentioned this on a previous program, actually, that in Austin, Texas, they're having a deep look at this and letting cars just drive. And there are some accidents, one has got to say. Now in California, where else? The land of the good and the mad. They've decided seriously they've got to get these taxis going for a number of reasons. And one of them is, surprisingly, there's been that many complaints about cab drivers. People who use cabs regularly don't want to be bored to death by the opinions of cab drivers. They want silence and peace when
Well,
they
you can
go
always
to
put
work.
your earpods in.
Well, I suppose you could, yeah. Not your earbuds, your earpods. So they're going ahead with this now. And you think, oh, it's an accident waiting to happen. Until you look at the other statistics, which are in the United States last year, 42,000 people died on the road. Now, compare that with Britain. That is a heck of a lot.
Yeah, but it's a hell of a lot bigger country.
Yeah, but not that, but not in proportion.
All right.
3,000 in Britain, roughly.
But over there, I think I'm right in saying they're speeding. You can't go over 50 miles an hour, can you?
Oh, you can in many states, actually.
Oh, you can now, can you? Okay.
But it's not your interstate highways
All right.
producing the mega number of
Okay.
accidents. It's just rotten driving.
Yeah.
We know all about that in España, believe you me. So it depends on various things. But one thing I've got to mention, they've got this wonderful system in the States that if you see a red light, don't panic. You can still turn left. No,
Oh,
right. Wrong side of the road.
yes.
Now, if you think about it, actually, that works. That's not where the accidents are. You've got to keep the law and we are in Britain. Hence the problems we have in many other. Oh, the law is the law. We worship the law. Yeah, we obey the law, but if it's a bad law, it needs changing. Which is
Well, absolutely. If a law doesn't work, yeah, once a law's been put in action and it doesn't work, absolutely.
yeah, but
It needs to be.
oh, it's the law. It's the law. Yeah, okay, but is it doing any good? No. Is it doing bad? Yes. Oh, but it's the law. It's madness, but that's where we are. Anyway, back to the States. There we go, and driving around in this car that hopefully behaves itself. But let me tell
You
you,
wouldn't get me in one.
well, yeah, I say the same thing, but are we right with 42,000?
No,
They
thanks.
have come out with statistics, but they would for these safety vehicles that occasionally do get it wrong. But the
I
actual
mean, how does a driverless, how does,
it's wrong. It's actually much safer in a driverless taxi. It's like the aeroplanes.
oh, yeah, well, I know. Yeah, yes, talking of that.
Yes, indeed. The
So
safety
sad.
margin is immense if you look at the actual stats. Doesn't help with terrible things that happen in
No.
in India.
No, that I mean that was just. I mean, it's when you start hearing the individual stories of that crash. Uh, I mean, there was
There's a lot of social media at the moment.
yeah. I
I
mean,
think we should wait for the results.
but there are. I mean, how that guy got out alive. I mean, that has to be a miracle because I was listening to it on Five Live, and there was sort of like, they were talking about it, and they said, "Oh, someone says there's someone that says he's a survivor," and then they had aviation experts saying he can't possibly be.
No,
Nobody could survive that. And yet,
no.
I think what happened was well. I mean, but to come out completely almost unscathed, the door blew out, didn't it? I think, and he
Well,
managed to.
I don't know. I mean, years and years ago, I was told, look, if you have to sit anywhere, sit next to an emergency exit. So there must be something in it.
There must be something in it, but I mean, people. There was one young dad who had gone over there to spread his ashes to his young wife who'd had cancer, and now the two young children back in the States are orphaned. I mean, it's just, I often wonder I have to say, when I'm on a flight, an international flight, I often think, I wonder why. Are you business? Is it a funeral? Is it a baby? Is it immigration? I wonder why all these people, what their journey is, what their history is, what's brought them to be on this plane all at the same time. What is their story? I find that really interesting actually, but the tragedy, I mean, oh my golly, you sort of think of the pilots, like knowing that what was going to happen. How could they not have known? And at that Dreamliner, I mean, I know it's Boeing, and Boeing haven't got a good record at the moment, but I've been on the Dreamliner. They're lovely planes. And I don't think there's been any accidents, has there before? But there's another one that was, I mean, I think there was another one that had to go back after an hour or something, a Dreamliner. I think I read the other
Yeah,
day.
that was in the Far East as well. They'll be looking for incidents, but this is the job of newspapers, isn't it? To find headlines that sometimes
Yeah, exactly.
are not always.
But a terrible tragedy, terrible, terrible tragedy. And
Right, I'm going to move on to EVs, electric vehicles. Apparently, 1 in 10 now are made in China.
it isn't everything.
For the United Kingdom, that's a lot when you realise that they're fallen from grace already. Not as many people are buying them. I'm not surprised. And let me tell you that the infrastructure of charging your vehicle on the go is far better in England than it is in most countries in
Mm.
Europe. It's
Well, we do have.
diabolical in Spain.
Well, I know we go on about a nanny state and all of that, but some of these things are good. I mean, we there would be strict regulations about how you power up your car. But apparently, though, a lot of the cars that are being powered up from external, like so you parked on your driveway and you're plugging it in. You haven't put it in a garage. The wires is being attacked by foxes and rats and all sorts.
Well, you beware the local council, as we've mentioned on another program, because you need planning permission if you're in
Yeah,
even a semi flat upstairs, flat below. If you stick your wire out of the upstairs window because you are an occupier, then the council will stop you charging the car.
yeah.
Oh, but I'm going to put a trench in there so nobody can trip out. It doesn't matter. The council in that event actually relented eventually. But people are traveling, believe it or not, up to 15 miles to get a charger. And then because it's not one of the ultra rapid ones, it's taking them 4 hours to fill up a car. There's your day gone.
No, I wouldn't have one. I wouldn't. I mean, I would be terrible. I mean, always looking at the petrol gauge. Like, if it gets to like a quarter full, I'm always, ooh, got to. I would be terrible. I'd be stuck on the M25, and where am I going to stop for electricity?
Yeah, indeed. Well, look, we've put all our eggs in one basket again. We're good at doing that. There's lots of other alternative clean fuels, hydrogen being one that two of the major car firms are really having a go at the moment. And you just stick a big pellet, a tube, near where you put the petrol in the old days, and that has because it will tell you when it's going to run out. has a big range, and you just buy another tube, and it takes the same amount as filling your car up with petrol or diesel. Now, have they thought this lot through long term? Of course they've not. That will probably come along, and people will prefer it
Yeah.
going down the electric route for obvious reasons. The range is rubbish. If they quote you 300 miles, half that, because of various things that will happen. Is it summer? Is it winter?
That's right.
So,
And you say when if you use your radio a lot, if you want your air con on, that's a real gas guzzler, isn't it?
yes. And anyway, be careful of the insurance that we have previously pointed out on another show. There are certain Chinese electrical cars that are uninsurable.
Mm.
So check that out before you buy one, certainly. Right, benefit fraud. If finally we've got to go, we've got to cover this one because it makes Marilyn mad as well. Make Marilyn mad day. I mean, we getting back to statistics, 6.5 billion of our money is regularly wasted every year by social services and co in giving out benefits. The actual time Plod finds out about this and will take you to court is 1/7 as much as it was 2 years ago. Now, why it should be mountainous the amount of people they're taking to court, fining, or in extremis putting in prison.
Dare I say, how many are being given benefits that even today are arriving in a little rubber boat?
Oh, you're a racist after all.
Not racist.
No,
I'm not racist. I'm just sick of this country being invaded. I mean, Priti Patel had a point. It is an invasion.
yes, you're a truist, let's say. But anyway, the fact exists that they're not doing their jobs. Well, they're getting very good pay now, civil servants. They're getting exceedingly good pensions. Why aren't we disposing of the services of the leaders of the pack? Because
Yeah,
that's where the problem is,
absolutely.
and not doing anything again.
Senior management. See, it's senior management. They sit in their ivory towers. Absolutely right. But like, I thought, I don't know whether it's happened, where streeting was going to, like, even with the NHS, like rip out all these people. And I thought another minister was going to do something with the civil service, and they were going to rip out a whole load of uh, people that are just sat there doing absolutely stuff all, milking the system. I don't know if it's happened yet, but there was talk about that. But I just think, we're coming up to a year of Starmer. Oh my goodness me. Can we bear another 4?
No, I think the majority of people think that way. Certainly those that are calling for his head now. But I mean, let's step back and analyze the lies.
Mm.
There's never been lies thrown around Parliament inside and out. Promises broken, flip flop.
He
You
is a
turn.
flip-flop. He
You
is a
tell me.
flip-flop. And he is a flip-flop, and the very fact as I say, go back to the start of the conversation, the way he scuttled off to Canada and then released the Baroness Casey review, that is so transparent. That he can't, he will I cannot. I think the media, they were on it anyway right from the start of the year about these rape gangs, but now they are really going to have a right go. They're not going to pull back. They are not going to pull back now. The floodgates have opened. And he's going to have a job to survive, I think. I mean, I really do. And but I don't know, have they got the who would, can't remember how it works. Is it the party that says a vote of no confidence against him? Dare they?
Well, the facts or the only hope in all this is that, and there are pointers towards this, that enough Labour MPs, whether they be red wallers or not, are now getting very disquieted about this.
Mm.
And they're kicking. And don't forget, two of the leading ladies that saw this happening nearly 20 years ago were from Labour. They
Mm.
weren't the Tories,
Mm.
but they had a conscience.
Yes,
So
yes.
I think quite a number of Labour MPs will jump ship. Now, whether they jump to the Tories depends on Badenoch, or whether it be straight to Nigel, which is the more likely. But now, of course, the other thing is that people are saying you've got to have a coalition Tory and Reform. If you'd have had that, you'd have won the Scottish by-election recently. And unless you want a Starmer government again, which is extreme left-wing, people say, oh, he's not left-wing, he's a lawyer. Yeah, say no more. He is.
If we had a, well, I mean, I think if we had an election tomorrow, I think Labour would come off even worse than the Tories did last year.
That
I really do.
Is sure, but
the trouble is, I mean, Reform have got to get a lot more ministers, haven't they? Because they haven't got enough people.
No, they've not, and it needs organising and it needs time. So I think Nigel's being a bit canny and not pushing it too far.
No, and he's still got time. He's still got time. You know, you can wait for a fallout. There will be a fallout from this. There has to be. I mean, I don't know how you could even sit there and be a Labour MP, and I would just feel so betrayed, quite honestly.
Yeah, he's really gone back on his own voters in so many ways. Right, we that's it.
All right, well,
miserable today.
There's a feisty programme.
Yes. Are you back to your cooking duties today, Madame?
Well, probably not, because I won't get back till late because I'm looking after the baby.
Oh, yes.
So I'll probably be stuck on the M1, starving on the way back home tonight. I can't stand it. M25, M1, my least favourite motorways. I will get stuck in the gridlock of traffic. As long as I've got wine, that's okay.
After the event, I hope, not before the event.
When I get home.
Yeah, in dear old Espana, we've got to be very careful. Don't try and eat your shit butty whilst driving, because the fine is £600-700
Oh, well, you're not allowed to eat or drink at driving, are you? Here, you're not allowed to eat while you're driving here.
No, you can smoke a cigarette, which is even more dangerous.
Well, that's right. That's right. All right then. Bye-bye.
Have a wonderful week.
And you too. Let's see how it pans out. We'll probably have to do another programme tomorrow.
Halfway through, yes, I know.
Bye now. Thank you. Bye.